In this video, I'm going to show you how you can easily make a waterproof dome using branches and plastic wrap. You can also make it insect-proof by making a door or a curtain. The dome can be easily heated by a fire made nearby. Its radiation can easily get through the transparent wall that will block you from smoke and insects at the same time. It was quite an unusual experience. It feels like you are sitting in front of a cozy fireplace while being immersed in fresh outdoor air. If you open the door, you can enjoy fresh air while being warm. If you keep the door closed, you can use the dome as a sauna at your campsite. I was pleasantly surprised by how big it is. It feels like it is larger inside than it is outside. I built this dome back in 2015, and it stood there for 3 years under loads of snow at times. I estimated the dome's frame held up to 400 pounds, 200 kilos of snow caps during the winter month. The dome-shaped frame is amazingly strong because weight evenly distributes throughout the frame's arched structure. Now, I will show you how I built the dome. I made a simple compass device from 2 stakes and a rope. One stake was hammered in the center point of where the dome would be. Then I hammered in the second stake sideways. It is used to prime holes for the frame's arch that I made from a rowan branch. I repeated the same procedure 180 degrees from the first primed hole using my makeshift compass. Now that the circumference of my dome is mapped, I can clean the side of the brush and debris. Then I bent the first 2 branches into an arch and interlaced them together, securing with a piece of rope. After making this initial arch, I proceeded to make 3 more foundational arches around the circumference. You can use natural materials such as roots or vine to secure the members together, but I recommend using regular packing tape to save time and effort. Note, the arches should not intersect at the same point at the top of the dome. They should be spaced slightly apart in order to maintain equal height. There are a total of 8 arches in this dome. 4 are foundational and dug into the ground, and the remaining 4 are interlaced onto the sides of the structure and not even touching the ground. We need to reinforce this frame laterally with branch hoops. After mounting those, I added 2 oblique members to the frame for additional reinforcement and stiffness in order to resist the weight of heavy snow caps in the winter. The last optional component to this project is the dome's door. I used bird maple branches to make both the dome's door and door frame. The easiest door shape you can make is round. I chose to make a rectangular door for convenience. Using 2 spreaders and rope, I achieved the desirable shape. Now, we only need to bend it a little to match the dome's curvature. It is easier to bend both the door and its frame at once. Before bending, I tightened them together so that the door and the frame match well once dried. It takes about a day for the door and its frame to dry and keep the shape. Now we can install the door frame into the dome. The dome ended up being 8 feet 2.5 meter tall. The door reminds me of a sub's watertight door. Perhaps I have this association because I absolutely loved Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as a child. I had to cut out a section of the arch which didn't really weaken the structure. Okay, once we install the door frame, we can wrap the dome in stretch film. To ensure the dome's skin is waterproof, I started at the bottom so that the top layer would overlap the layer below, just like shingles on a roof. You need to apply the film snugly so that the layers adhere well to each other. I applied 2 layers of film on the bottom portion and 3 or 4 layers of it starting at the chest level. I also reinforced the skin with tape around the doorway as it was starting to rain. When I was cutting out the opening for the door, the rain got heavier and I hid from it inside. I noticed that even without the door, the rain wouldn't get inside much. Okay, now I need to install the hinged door and the dome will be complete. I made simple door hinges from 2 nails and a piece of steel wire. I bent the nails into hinges and secured them to the door with a piece of wire. Then I bent a piece of thick wire into 2 screw-eye hooks and secured them to the door frame. The door is so light you can make hinges even from a tin can. Lastly, I wrapped the door in stretch film and installed it. Note, the tension of the plastic wrap changed the door's curvature, so there is a small gap between the door and its frame. I fixed the gap later by adding a longer spreader to the door. As I mentioned before, I built this storage dome 4 years ago, and now I need a larger storage where I could air dry the boards and slabs for my cabin's furniture and cabin's doors. I decided to make a hanger-style canopy from branches and tarp. I laid out a rectangular-shaped plane on the ground, made holes at about 50 degrees, and inserted the arches into the primed holes. Note, it is important to keep the arches off vertical position for improved habitability of both a tarp hanger and plastic wrap dome. It is difficult to interlace long branches into an arch, especially if you're doing it by yourself. You can tie a string to one side of a long branch and then repeat this procedure for the opposite member of the arch. It is important to follow a simple principle. First, you need to make 2 side arches and connect them with straight horizontal branches. Then, you fill in the space in between with a few more structural arches. Your hanger frame will be even and strong without the need for meticulous measurements. I used packing tape to secure all of the frame's members together. I cut aspen branches to make the hanger's structural members. Aspen regrows fast, so I didn't worry about conserving it too much. The frame was covered with the same blue tarp that was torn by a Bigfoot. At least that's what most viewers suggested in their comments to a previously published video. It wasn't a big deal. I've just used homemade grommets from my tarp kayak to fix that tear and rewrap the kayak's frame with plastic wrap to go fishing the same day. This was my first experience and I wasted a lot of stretch film. Next time I will be able to wrap the same size dome and kayak using only half of the roll. Half a roll of stretch film and a roll of packing tape will not take much space in your backpack, but can come in handy during long hikes. For example, you can easily make an ultralight kayak from branches and stretch film like the one I'm showing now. It weighs less than 10 pounds, 4 kilos. I even tried to paddle it over rocks on purpose to test its frame and skin and was quite happy with the results. The main idea of this project is that you could build your kayak within a day if you're hiking in the wilderness and come upon a body of water you wish to travel or fish. This hanger-looking canopy can be made a lot larger. For example, while I was building my log cabin, I lived in a tent and used a large canopy as a porch. The summer was particularly rainy, but I could do all tasks including cooking comfortably there. The main advantage of such a hanger-style canopy is it has both the roof and the walls that protect you against the wind and rain. Also, such a canopy doesn't sag, has no supporting ropes nor stakes, and it is tall enough that you can comfortably stand in it. The last 3 points were the main improvements over the simple tent with a camping cot I made prior to it. I call it a 4-in-1 canopy. This simple design will make your camping experience more comfortable. I prefer to use a long stick as a roof's ridge beam, but you can use a rope stretched between two trees. If you liked this video, perhaps you could share it with your friends. Let good people watch good videos. This is Max Yegorov, St. Petersburg, Russia. Also, I recommend two other videos that supplement this one: $1 bushcraft kayak and fire carved furniture.